You know what's amazing? Octopus. Octopus are amazing. But besides octopus, we have an interesting trend going on right now. Right now, these years, 25, 26, right into there. And we're seeing not only the family resemblance of a lot of vehicles, but the evolution of that family resemblance. Now, first glance, you may say, wow, this looks a whole lot like a Hyundai Santa Fe. But it is not. Introducing the 2026 Hyundai Palisade. This is the XRT version, and as you can see, looks a lot like the Santa Fe, but it's got so much more room and such an interesting drivetrain that's different from its sibling. What do you think? Let's have a look. Let's take these red hooks out for a ride, shall we? Oh, you know we're going to do it. Let's go. Huddled up in this quiet little corner of the quiet corner, we have our 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT version. Now it looks very similar in styling to the Santa Fe, but, which you have seen earlier on this channel, I think. Have I put that up yet? I'm not sure. But they really resemble each other, except the Palisade has got so much more room in it. It's a three-row, it's a true three-row SUV, and as you know, if you're familiar with the Palisade family, it's very, very popular because it does everything quite well, especially haul a lot of passengers in all kinds of weather, because this is an all-wheel drive machine right in front of you. We have a 116-inch wheelbase. I'm gonna try to avoid this camera shadow. There we are. There, I'm standing in the camera shadow. There we go. 116 inches between axles, and there's something really, really interesting about this thing compared to, if you've been following the narrative of late, you know that everybody's going with 4-cylinder turbocharged engines instead of the old V6s. Well, guess what? This is really interesting. This particular vehicle has a 3.5 liter V6 engine, 287 horsepower. And that's unusual because all the manufacturers have been saying, no, we have to do the turbocharging route because of emissions. And yet, here we have a V6 engine with an 8-speed transmission, and it meets emissions just fine. So, interesting, no? So are we going to see more of these V6s? I'm not sure. But I find it very heartening that we do have this one. And as you're going to find out, it's a good engine. It's a nice, comparatively simple drivetrain that does all kinds of good things for you in terms of, well, it gets decent gas mileage, it has good power, but more than anything else, it has an excellent, smooth idle, and whenever you get on the power, I'm a camera shadow. Let's go around here. Let's go through the woods. I'm going to take you around the back of the vehicle. We have to go through the woods to do this. Whoa, there we go. Almost looks like about a decade or two ago, well, probably longer than that, the old Range Rover rear end on it. Look at that, nice and square. And because of this architecture, you have a whole lot of cargo room and a whole lot of people room in that third row. So it's, again, a very, very practical design that, like I said, the Palisade was very popular before, but I think people are going to like this one even more because Hyundai has done what Hyundai does very well. They take all the attributes from the previous version, and when they do a complete redo like this one, they make sure all those attributes are still there and then come up with new ones. Great, huh? So without further ado, let's have a look under that hood and see that beautiful, yes, V6 non-turbocharged engine. Here's our morning power plant. Here we have our 3.5 liter regular aspirated V6 engine, and it is mounted, of course, transversely with 3 cylinders there, 3 cylinders in the back, and in the middle of the V, if you will, is our gasoline direct injection system, GDI. You're familiar with that. This is not a multi-port plus GDI. To the best of my knowledge, it just says on their spec sheet GDI. So there are issues with gasoline direct injection, but who knows? Hyundai may have figured out a way to deal with the carbon buildup that you get, but that's usually only in the 80 to 90,000 mile range when it starts to show up, and there's all kinds of ways they can clean that out. So anyway, but what are our numbers on this little gem? And it is a gem. If you look around here, there's so much room everywhere, and it's not overly convoluted with all kinds of cooling apparatus to cool the turbocharger, because there is no turbocharger. You have 287 horsepower, it's 6,400 RPM, and 260 pounds of feet at 5,000 RPM. And again, as mentioned before, you have an 8-speed automatic transmission and Hyundai's excellent H-Trac all-wheel drive system. This is a very conventional power plant. No turbocharging, and the rear drivetrain is just a mechanical drivetrain. There's no electric motors or anything involved with it. So if you like simplicity, we got a lot of simplicity here that is very refined and works very, very well. And like I said, there's so much space around this engine. If you should have to have some things done to it for whatever reason at some point, it looks like it's a pretty easy thing to get to on most of this stuff. The huge 12-volt battery, woo, right here. Isn't that something? There's your fuse box. There's your 12-volt. Here is your air intake, your filter, right into this mess here that goes into that mess down there, and that's your direct fuel injection. So overall, this is a very attractive, to me, V6 engine, because it's so well packaged, and it also has everything you need and nothing you don't kind of philosophy. It's also very, very smooth, and it seems to fit this vehicle very nicely. We can tow, according to this, if you have a braked trailer, 5,000 pounds. And what do you want, man? I tell you what, this is refreshing, because it's not incredibly complicated like we're starting to get used to. You know what I mean? Great stuff. Let's move on to the rest of the exterior. Here's another thing that I love that's not only simple, but it's kind of the standard for off-road oriented types of vehicles like this. You just have an additional inch of ground clearance over the standard Palisade, but you do have these excellent cross-contact Continental tires in the 255/60 R18 range. So we have 18-inch wheels, which I've always fancied myself, 17s and 18s for off-road vehicles, just because I think it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of what kind of tires you can get for it. You can get full-on snow tires, you can get winter tires, you can get some rugged outdoor type of things. It's just a real good size. And as you can see in there, we have a pretty good size brake rotor and brake caliper. The caliper's mounted in the front, which is always interesting to see where they actually put the caliper, where it actually grabs the disc itself to slow things down during your braking activities. So it's a very good looking tire choice in my opinion for this, because it's a good all around. If you live, say, in the Northeast, and we get some snow and we get rain and you get dry weather and you get all of this mix of atmospheric disturbances, it comes in real handy. So anyway, what do you think of this amazing what I would call it? Looks a lot like my Triumph, this paint job. It's a flat paint. It's kind of beautiful. Let me see. What do they call this now? They call this, early brass white. Wait, that can't be right. Hang on. Let's have a look. What the heck are you? Oh, here we go. Earthy brass matte. M-A-T-T-E. It's a matte finish. I get it. I understand what they're saying with this. But in this morning sun, isn't that pretty? It actually is it looks very almost utilitarian in its sheen, but it's also kind of grabs your attention. It's nice. I like it. I think it looks really good on this. It really complements the lines of this vehicle. The manufacturers have been doing a lot of neat things with their various, and they've done this forever. They come up with new ways to put on finishes and things like that, and they don't mind charging you more for a more expensive paint, because a lot of people seem to prefer that. They like to have a very unique looking vehicle. And this is definitely one of them. Now let's go back here. Here it is, by the way. Oh, I haven't been saying Pro. It's an XRT Pro. It's not an XRT Amateur. And now we open and we go in. And what do we have back here? Well, we have a folded third row seat. We have our paint scraper, snow scraper. God, paint? Where did I get that from? And, oh, let me get my numbers. Hang on just a minute. I want you to stay there. You stay there. I'll be right back. It's right over here. How you doing back there? How are you? Oh, hang on. Hang on. Here I come. Here I come with my numbers here. Because this is impressive, and it must be shared with all. We have a cargo area back here that when you have all the seats deployed, all 3 rows deployed, you have 19 cubic feet of cargo space that is still right back there. But if you fold that third row, that goes up to 46.3, and it is a very commodious, look at there we are, very commodious 46.3. And then if you fold the captain's chairs in front of that, you get a total of 86.7 cubic feet. And this is really with this particular, I would imagine, big question I would have, and I'll see if I can't find it before I finish this video, is could you get the XRT Pro version with a bench seat in the second row? I don't know. I'll look into it. Because I think for a lot of people that would be a little more practical than captain's chairs. Although, again, it depends on how many people you're going to be hauling. And for some, captain's chairs work better, and they're certainly comfortable. I mean, God, if you want to pamper your second row people, that's a way to do it. But as you can see, it's wide, it's fairly deep, and fairly wonderful. And to pull the seats back up, I mean, I have a back problem right now. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. And there is our third row right there. And as you can see, you still have a fair amount of room back here. So again, practicality is your friend. And we have it in abundance on this beautiful Palisade. The more I've been driving this vehicle, the more I like it. It also is very maneuverable considering its considerable size. So there you go. And without any further ado, let's take it. I know. Well, let's go inside. Let's have a look inside and see what the heck is going on inside this massively interesting and very modern 2026 model. Warmth in winter. Yes. Yes. What I've done for you here in our Palisade XRT. XRT is I've put this, it's watching you to see everything that you're doing, to make sure you're not falling asleep at the wheel. But that's an annoying little camera system that has a flashing red light that can only be seen on the frame rate of this little video camera. So I've taped it over so you won't be annoyed, because I hate to annoy people. I don't like being annoyed myself. And I've discovered that the XRT Palisade does not like to be annoyed either. So there you go. It's cold outside. According to our temperature right there, it's 16 degrees outside. And let's go through our dashboard and our interior very quickly, shall we? You know me, it ain't going to be quick. There's too much. But anyway, this is a pretty conventional flat screen that is mimicking analog instrumentation, and does it very clearly and concisely. Very easy reader. I like this a lot, how they've got it set up. Now, what are our different choices there? Do we have different... If we are to be perfectly honest with ourselves, we have an option that may relieve the boredom of owning a car over a period of time. If and provided that you every once in a while take a switch of the instrument cluster. The cluster is a big deal. Now, right now I've gone to the cluster thing. Here's our cluster theme selection, and we're on classic. Want to go modern? Here's modern. Boom. See, it's more digital in nature. And then we can go simple, which is that. Look at there. Oh, that's pretty straightforward. Pretty simple. Incidentally, it took me a while to find the trip odometers are becoming more and more elusive on vehicles. But what they do, and this is a fascinating one, because first of all, it's understandable that the what you have now in current capability in terms of our algorithms is a very easy way of telling the car can tell when the gas tank is being filled up. And when the gas tank is completely full, then it can automatically reset this particular trip meter array right here. And so that way you get what should be a pretty accurate view of your fuel economy. Now, according to the car, I'm getting 20.4 miles per gallon, which for a vehicle of this size is quite good. And it also, of course, has our little 3.5 liter V6, normally aspirated. So it's a conventional, much more simple V6 engine. And I love that. I think that's a really good thing. Now, as we're still on our cluster, let's go back to classic. Whee! Yeah. Then we have graphic style. This is style C. Style B is blue, and I think that will probably correspond with our eco driving setting. And style A, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of a mix. We have blue and red and yellow on the right side there. Unusual. But if we, do we have our selector here about if we want to tie it in with, let me go back here. Content selection, welcome sound. Provides audible tone when the cluster turns on and off. Well, we're turning that on. That's cool. By the way, the musical accompaniment is provided by Warmth in Winter from the Sounds of Nature collection. Now, there's the thing here somewhere. Let's go back here. Well, cluster. It should be theme select. Where is the... Link to drive modes. Yeah, okay. There, I've put that on there. So right now, what is our drive mode? Where is our drive mode selector? You're wondering where it is? And so am I. I'm looking. Is it on the steering? There's mode, but I don't believe that is, I believe, sound oriented. And we have, over here, we have our cameras. We have camera, downhill, descent control, auto hold, drive, and terrain. Here we go. This has two different kinds of driving mode systems, by the way. We hit drive, and terrain, rather, we get snow, mud, and sand. But we also have, well, how do you do that? Excuse me, right here. There's a toggle switch. This is interesting. There's a toggle switch down here, and this is what you move your drive mode. Right now, we're going to go into eco mode. There we go. And I go into eco mode, and what do I get? Kind of a greenish tint to the instrumentation. If I go into sport, it's going to go red, right? It always does. On most vehicles nowadays, you get red. And if I go to mud drive, that's where you get the yellow and the blue. That's real interesting. Now, on top of that, we have terrain. And you can put like snow, mud, sand, that kind of thing. The other day when I was driving in a little bit of snow, I didn't have it set on snow because the vehicle is doing just fine. I mean, the H-Trac Hyundai's all-wheel drive system works pretty damn good no matter what. So anyway, all right, so we have a very useful instrument cluster. Here we have a selection of what we can put in between there. There's our compass. Here is our graphic illustration of what's going on in terms of autonomous driving, semi-autonomous driving. This is one of my favorites because it tells us what's going on with the drivetrain. At the moment, it's kind of geared primarily as a front-wheel drive vehicle. But it is a mechanical four-wheel drive system, so the rear drivetrain is often engaged as well. It's not an electric motor back there. It is 100% a drive shaft and a clutch system that kicks in the rear drivetrain when it deems necessary. And necessary, incidentally, also means when you're taking off from like a dead stop, even if it's dry pavement outside. I'm turning down some things here. Okay, because it's cold and it's trying to get us up to 72 degrees. Wow. What's also really interesting about this display, look what happened in the, you got your tachometer went to digital, and see, as I change it there, look at there, you got this little thing right here, a little vernier type of thing to tell you what you're currently turning as far as revs are concerned. Then you have your oil temperature, then you have your transmission temperature, then you have your coolant temperature, all right there. And over here, for off-road excitement, you have the pitch, which apparently we're at 5 degrees, and I absolutely believe it. I'm on a slight hill. And then you have roll that tilts left and right like so to tell you that. That can be useful information. You'll probably know when you're leaning and about to tump the vehicle over when you're driving off-road, if you are. But this is good stuff. Nothing wrong with this. Information is good. And you can do this in this setting. Oops, excuse me. There we go. And then we go back to our fuel thing. And our fuel thing, there's since last reset, which I resetted it. Auto stop means the auto stop is engaged, I guess. And the tire pressure, you have to move, the tires have to move so that they, all the wheel speed sensors are comparing speed to each other to find out if one of them's off. That could more than likely be a tire that's a little different in terms of tire pressure, i.e. it needs some air in it. So there you go. A very good instrument cluster. I have no complaints about it at all. It's just a matter of, like everything else, it's, you got to get, if you're like, you're going into your Hyundai dealer and you have a, let's say you have a 2008 Santa Fe, you're going to be some changes in this vehicle for you. But if you're fairly well versed with the latest stuff, you're going to be home very, very quickly because everything's pretty straightforward. What else do we have on our steering wheel? Well, we got, this is our cruise control system, which is adaptive in nature. And this is our following distance right here. And this is our steering. So that this will do lane tracing and try to keep you in the middle of the lane if you turn it on and off. And I love the fact, I know Toyota does this, several manufacturers do this, several don't. But you have the ability to immediately turn on and off the steering assist. And that, in my view, is extremely important because you'll get yourself into a situation all of a sudden, especially if you're driving someplace that's not familiar to you, where you want to just, you don't want to be fighting the steering wheel because the car's getting confused by all the weird stuff that's going on with the lanes, how they were painted on there by a drunken man and stuff like that. So this is a good thing. What does this do? This does something. I can't remember what that does, but it does. I remember noting, I was driving at night, I think, and I said, wow, what is that? That's cool. Yeah, I could look that up for you, but I'm not going to because I'm just not. but it's another aspect of our display system. That's all I'm going to say, and you can enjoy that when you get your owner's manual in your hands and read through it. So, over here, this is our radio area. We have volume right here. Turn up our winter warmth and winter track. Here's our access to our telephone. Here's our star settings. Star settings, of course, usually mean you have a degree of programmability that you can put whatever you want under that star setting, and there's a pretty broad variety of things that you can pick from to use if it's something you do all the time. You can select that in the main menu on that beautiful center-mounted portrait. No, it's not portrait unless you're asleep and lying down. It is, in fact, your landscape type situation. And then we have the modes, which is your different sound systems. You got your satellite radio, You got your AMs, your FMs. You know, I was just talking to my brother the other day, and we were both lamenting that cars don't have CD players anymore, because we have a huge CD collection, and sometimes that's just what you want to listen to, just that CD in order, or maybe even randomized, and it's just a nice way to listen to stuff. But everything's streaming now. You can also use, of course, a thumb drive or stuff like that, provided that it is USB-C, of course, because everything on this car is USB-C. So we'll move over to our left hand, and down there we have this is our opener closer for our power operated rear lift gate. This is our tow haul mode. Like I say, up to 5,000 pounds, provided the trailer has brakes. Here's our turning off the automatic engine shut off, and there's something you should know about that, by the way. I discovered this. If you have on, where's the auto stop? Not the auto stop, the auto hold. There we go. Whoop. There you are. Auto hold. Okay, if you have that on, it does some braking that when you're sitting at a light and you have the car in drive, but you have your foot on the brake, it's going to turn off the engine, and it will basically set the brakes while you're sitting there. This is bad when the light changes, because then it has to do two things. It has to start the engine when you let off the brake pedal, and it has to start the engine, and it also has to release the brakes, and it can be really abrupt, I have discovered, on this vehicle. So the way you avoid that is just don't use the auto hold feature. Then it's really smooth and fine and beautiful, and the restarting of the engine is very quick and easy. It just does it fast and smooth, and it's no big deal. So anyway, just words to the wise. What else we have? We have our parking brake. Hang on. Right there, you pull out like that. There, your emergency braking. And it's set on automatic now, so every time you put it in the park, it sets the brake. And you also have your deactivation of your traction control system, which can come in handy when you're busy getting stuck. Hard to do in this vehicle because it has very aggressive tires that are perfectly suited for this vehicle, by the way. I've been very happy with them. I've driven in all kinds of conditions since I've had this car, and it handles them all with a plum. A plum. It had, like if you have a plum in your hand, it handles like that. Okay, what's this? What's this over here? That is our shifter, and they've done something else that's kind of interesting. They've put the start-stop button mounted on the shifter paddle here, which is interesting, but you just twist. Now we're in drive, neutral, reverse, and then you have paddle shifters here, so you can manually shift to a certain extent. The 8-speed automatic transmission, and park is this button right here that you press in. So you get used to that pretty fast. That's not a bad controller at all. I actually, I wish they'd do something like this with Genesis, which is part of the Hyundai family, because they use these dials that I find that are too easy to get confused with another dial that is used to navigate the center screen, and I always complain about it. And everybody just looks at me, oh, it's not a problem. Well, okay. It isn't for you, but our center display, beautiful, isn't it? We'll go home here, and here you have access to damn near everything, including Apple CarPlay. If I put Apple CarPlay on, there is my Wise navigation app, my favorite. But you can also use the map system, Huzzah, that comes on board with the car, and this is also a very good system. 3D, excellent graphics. Everything in it is sharp as a tack. It's a real nice display. You can see a little bit of a roll there from the frequency that it's operating at, frame rate, if you will. But naturally, your eyes do not see that, and just like the red blinky thingy, they don't see that either. So, okay, we go down, and this is our primary, I would call this the main control board here. You can use the touch screen to put it on home, for example, or you can use the button right here. And you have the map, search function, there's your search function right there. And naturally you can do it just by speaking to it. If you have this pressed, then you have your media, and boy do we have a lot of media. And this is, look, they even have a little wintry picture for you during your warmth in winter. Sound of nature. And incidentally, here's a little advertisement for Bose Centerpoint. That's the sound system on this vehicle, and it's excellent. The XRT model is an interesting one to me because it combines a little bit more, about an inch more ground clearance, more aggressive tires, all these good things. Full size, is it a full size spare? Did I ever even look at that spare tire? I don't remember. Well, it does have a spare, I know that. Temporary or full size, I don't remember. But the fact is it's much more capable off-road because of that, but at the same time they have outfitted it with a lot of equipment options that are really good, that you're going to enjoy. So it's not only a little more capable off-road, it's also a very, very comfortable car and got a lot of excellent features on it. So anyway, here's our seek and track situation with our music, whatever we happen to be listening to, and whatever format or device you may have plugged in. Over here is our hill descent. This is our parking monitor, which helps you. It goes to beeping on you when you're about to cave in your fender or something like that. You really shouldn't do that. And here's one of my personal favorites, the cameras. And as you can see, we have both 360 overhead and front, back, and you have choices right here. We're looking at the front of the vehicle right now. Now we're looking out the back of the vehicle. Now we're doing the 360. Let's do it. Look at there, up, down, all the things. How can it see everywhere at all moments? Isn't that something? What's this? I don't know what that is. Parking distance warning, top view parking guide. Top view parking guidelines. Well, that's very convenient. I like that. Does this have some kind of automated parking on? Hell, I don't know. I never pay attention to those. I apologize for that, but I don't like. If you can't park your car, you shouldn't be driving it. I'm an old curmudgeon when it comes to that thing. If you don't know how to parallel park, then you should not be allowed on the public roadways. I'll say that from time to time. Well, actually never, but very, very good camera system. And that's a lot of cameras. That's a front camera and 2 side cameras and a back camera, all working in harmony. Now, we drop down further, and here's our climate control area, and we have 2 zones, the left and the right zone, which are can be operated synchronized together, which I have it set that way right now, but you can also do that separately, which is common fare these days. And you have heated seats. You have ventilated seats in the front here. You have a heated steering wheel. You have all kinds of other things, and your defrosters. All these things are getting to be pretty standardized on all makes and models. More so than a lot of other things that I really think should be more standardized. But what are you going to do? I mean, at least you'll be ventilated properly and you'll be comfortable. And we want you to be comfortable at all times when you're driving your car. Down in here is kind of an interesting storage area, and you also have access to this 12-volt power source for your 12-volt power source needs. Then as we come up here into the main console area, here's a whole slew of USB-C ports, some of which have battery capability, and some of them are more geared towards input from your do people have iPods anymore? I miss having all these. I've been trying to get audiobooks. Hey, anybody know how to get an audiobook from a latest model of operating system from Macintosh onto like an old iPod Nano? Because I can't figure out how to do it. Music's easy, that still works, but audiobooks, not so much. Anyway, here is our charger, which is in an excellent location because it's just right here. You just plop your phone down works really well with the phone on your wireless charging. Even if you have a case on the phone, at least an OtterBox or something like that, which is what I have, and it works just great. Very, very good. Very roomy and commodious cup holders. And then we have our main console, which is actually fairly roomy here. And you don't have to go looking everywhere. One of the things I like about this design a lot is you don't have to go looking for these guys inside there. With some cars, to this day, you have to really start digging around to find where your USB ports are. And you shouldn't have to do that because we're so ensconced with the things that they need to be convenient, and you can't get more convenient than that, especially in proximity of your phone if for some reason you want to plug your phone in. So, but you can do everything wirelessly. Of course, you have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly. Let's have a look here. Look at that beautiful, well-lit glove box. It's not huge. You can get a smaller tablet computer in there, but otherwise, it's not a deep, huge maw of container. You can't fly like your Beach Calf King Air. You can't 300. ER, you can't fly that in there or taxi it in there and park it. Just forget about it. There's not enough room. You won't be able to do that. But anyway, our seating is fantastic. I believe that I forgot I don't have my thing. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen, but I'm 99% sure, which means I'm probably wrong, that this is Napa leather, but it's very, very comfortable. These seats are great. They have multiple adjustability. And again, you see the perforations all here for your ventilation. And they are very well heated, which is good since the temperature's now soared up to, well, it's still 16 degrees. It's just going to stay there. Okay, let's go high. Whoa, we're going high, going high. Ah, here we are. Here's our console where we have our wonderful map lights. And we don't have a sunglass holder up here. That's unusual. At least, wait a minute. Yeah, we do, don't we? No, we don't. I don't know what I just did. I probably just destroyed everything. Anyway, we have a very nice conventional sunroof. This is not a panorama, and it has something else that's really cool. A nice little manual shade. No big deal. Now, one of the reasons this does not have a panorama is it has a lot of ventilation going through the top of the ceiling, so that, like with the air conditioning, which is an awful good place to put it, because the cold air will fall down to the bottom of the car, the interior of the car. So it's steaming hot. You're in like Sedona on a July afternoon or someplace. I don't remember Sonoma being that, like Tucson, yeah. If it's really hot, that air conditioning will go right through the ceiling and then drop down and keep you and your occupants nice and comfortable. So, have we done here? We're done here. Let's have a look in the back now. We will access. I have to apologize for moving fairly slowly because I did something on my back. I don't know what, but it's not participating. There's that amazing finish. Flat gunmetal. We have almost 90 degrees and a very, very easy step up for the most part. And incidentally, here's our buttons and things that we can access the rear. Look at that, just jumps right up there. Amazing. But you also have aisle access to the third row. And you have your hand grip here. And we will use it and have a seat here in our captain's chairs. And like I mentioned before, you haven't heard me say it. Did I say it? I don't know. Whether or not you can get this with a bench seat, the XRT model, I'm not sure. I'm going to try to look into that because I think, personally, I love these vehicles, these SUVs like this. These 3 rows are great, but I often think that having a second row bench is good if you have a lot of kids and dogs and cats and things. It just pick what you need, man. But if you're not super pressed in terms of passenger space and you can do without one seat, this makes it very roomy and convenient for your second row passengers in particular, because you have, look at all this excellent leg room you have here. And here we have your access to a what?
115 volt AC, a maximum of 150 watts, which ain't a lot. You're not going to get one of them industrial hair dryers back here, but you can plug in a lot of things, especially if you have a charger that's being activated. While I'm down here, you got this little storage area here, which is nice, and USB-C, USB-C, so everybody, both of your second row passengers have access to plugging in their devices, which is great. Now this is what I was talking about before. Here's these vents in the ceiling, and then we have controls for the rear part of the car. And we're in sync and in auto, so it's going to try. Right now this thing is set up to put the whole cabin at the same temperature, which makes sense when you think about it. So, all right, let's check this out. How big can we go? 100% down on the window. And you're seating fairly high up, and the belt line is fairly high. But there's plenty, I mean, it's not in any way, shape, form claustrophobic, nothing like that. You got plenty of room. It's nice. And you also have the convenience of window shades. I love that. That's great. Then we have more convenience with your map lights right up there. So they thought of everything. Like I said, this is not just a more off-roady package. This is a very good overall package, how everything is set up. I'm very, I'll put it this way, and this means nothing to you, but if it was me buying this vehicle, I would be very happy with how this is equipped, because it has everything you need. It's a very, very well executed system. Now what can we do with these seats here? Can we can recline quite a bit. Whee! And then do we have the ability to slide? Yes, we do. Slide forward. I'll put it up a little bit, right there. And I'll recline it just a little bit for measurement of the rear seat area, the third row, which we're about to be in seconds away. But anyway, a lot of space. You got tons of headroom in this thing. I should have mentioned that before. Same thing for your front seat, folks. This thing has a lot of, this is one of the great qualities that made the Palisade so popular. And of course, the Kia Telluride, which is a sister ship. It's such a well-designed interior, it's such a well-designed vehicle overall for what they wanted it to do. They really sat down and decided what they wanted in a 3-row full-size. I'd call this full-size. Some would say it's a mid-size, but I don't listen to them. We do not hear their words. It's a very, very roomy vehicle. Okay, now we'll go back and we will, oh, by the way, you got your armrests here too. We'll go to our third row, which can be folded in half, 50-50. Yeah, there I am. I'm in the third row. Now, how high is the floor back here? Fairly high, but not ridiculous. One of the interesting things is you can see over the second row seats quite well back here. That's interesting. Usually these things are a little higher up. But leg room is okay, foot room's okay for an adult. I'm an adult, 5'8". I'm not having any problem with it. Here's our USB-Cs. They're everywhere. They've done such a nice job. Speakers are everywhere. So it sounds good back here, to be honest with you. And here's our air conditioning vents right there, which are not really activated at the moment. Why? Because we got the heater on, and the heater is better if it's coming from below and going up, because hot air rises and cool air falls. So they thought of everything. And here's a central dome type of situation. You don't appear to have any map light individual, but that's a really nice soft dome light. And you got some cargo tie downs here. And overall, this is a real nice vehicle. I'm telling you right now, this will be good if your kids are, provided they're not basketball players in high school, in which case they can just fight over moving this seat further forward, because you can slide it quite a bit forward. And you do have the access if you want to get out of the car in a hurry. Woo! Look at there. There you go. You can get right out. I'm very impressed with everything about this vehicle. I'm going to be honest with you, and this is before all the driving, even though or it could be after, who knows. It's just a real nicely executed vehicle overall. I think they had me with the regular V6, I think, because I'm not a fan of turbocharging. I understand all the pros and cons, and I just find that overall, I'm the person, the boot system is that you buy a car and you keep it at least 10 years. I think that makes economic sense for you, and I also think it makes safety sense because you'll know that vehicle at the end of 3 years, you're gonna know the vehicle really well. At the end of 7 years, you're really gonna know everything, its moods. Anything starts to go awry on it, you'll be able to tell right away because it won't feel right because you've been living with the car for a long time. So I can see this, if you have like a growing family and that kind of thing, this would last you a very long time in terms of providing all the needs that you need out of your family wagon.
Boy, oh boy, we have the inclemency. Boy, we have high winds, we have branches everywhere, we have a driving rain. Just the kind of thing you want to test one of these Palisade XRTs in. It's ideal. Testing out every aspect of it. Right now we're testing the ground clearance. Right now we're testing the suspension and the traction controls. Oh boy. The wind is like gusting to 50 miles an hour, which is bad. So what we're going to determine fairly quickly is how this thing does with a really strong crosswind, gusty crosswind. But I'll tell you something, I don't even, this is fresh in that I've just got this thing and I haven't had a chance yet.
In 1 mile, turn left.
Yeah, turning left in 1 mile, eh? Well, let's see, how's this work here? Yeah, let's do that. The thing that's amazing about it is, according to my inspection, this thing has a V6 engine. What? Who? What? Now, I look at it and I would have immediately assumed that what we were looking at would probably be an inline 4 with a turbocharger. See all this debris everywhere? It's everywhere. But no, we have a little V6 that is smooth. Oh, it's nice. I mean, you're sitting at idle and you can't feel a thing. And it just has nice acceleration. I don't know the displacement right off the bat. I don't have any of my informations yet. Later on, you'll know everything. You'll know everything. You'll know as much as I do. Well, hopefully you'll know more than I do when I get all the imperial data to you. But so far, first of all, I was just in my my Forerunner, and so I was doing some reconnoitering. You want to know what I was really doing? It's been raining so hard that it's finally washed all the salt off the road from these Nimrods that have put so much salt on the road the last week because we had less than 2 inches of snow, and they just kept salting and salting and so, well, there could be black ice. Well, yeah, put it where there is black ice. Try sand. But the situation with salt is so bad and it destroys our vehicles that I decided to take it up for a impromptu all natural car wash and drove it around in this rain for a bit. But anyway, the first thing I can tell you about this vehicle right off the bat that I noticed is it's very, very quiet. As Hyundai has gotten so good at, there's so many things that Hyundai has really gotten good at, and they pass this on to some of their other vehicles, and they go further even with the Genesis line. Okay, let's try a cruise here. Are we cruising? We're cruising, and we're going to increase slightly our following distance because of the weather. See, we do that. But man, I'm telling you right now, it's an interesting day. I have to go, how far do I have to go? I have to go 57 miles. And they say it will take me 1 hour and 14 minutes to get there.
That's before we really get out there. Now, where I'm driving right now is great because there's not a whole lot of trees that are right over the road, and that's where we're having all the problem right now is the trees that are right over the road. It's beautiful, and I wouldn't want to change it for the most part. Although I've said for years I think we ought to run power lines in this part of the world underground, or at the very least trim things back so that they don't take out power lines, and because that's a real problem for everybody when that happens. But anyway, uh-oh, what do we got here? An enormous tree in the road. Wow, look at that. Look at that. I'm gonna have to take a picture of that. There we go. This looks like this just happened, and yeah, and it's sitting on top of the power line. Wow. I think we're gonna be able to continue to go, but I don't know about this tractor trailer here. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll just kind of sneak by here. This tractor trailer is not going to be able to go. Nope, there he goes. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we have a vehicle that is slid off the road here. I'm not real sure about that. Looks that way though. And they got the flashers flashing. Yep, they're just sitting there against the guardrail and nothing happening. So that was all basically what the problem was. People slowing down, taking it easy around that. Not a bad idea, considering. Here comes some kind of ambulance, not ambulance, not sure what that is. But it appeared that that vehicle was trying to extricate themselves. Oh, we have another hazard. Oh man, I thought we were over our hazard. Well, this hazard was probably caused in a tangential way by the following hazard I just went by. I bet you. I just bet you. Somebody's decided to make their Camry really noisy. Wee, wee, wee. I don't get it. Aha, we have a collision ahead. That's what it's telling me here. Car stopped in 450 feet. Collision. So we're at collision point, according to this. Now it's saying 175 feet. Well, shoot, that should be right here, shouldn't it? I don't see anybody changing lanes. So, I don't know.
Police reported ahead.
And police. And there's just activities. Uh-huh. I've seen nothing. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Yep. Still there. Well, there's a policeman. And what else? And a tractor trailer and... Aha. Looks like we got a broke down truck. A broke down truck. Their front guard is... Well, I think they were probably opening the hood. I think it just broke down. It's a breakdown. I'm getting closer to where my destination is. That's always good. Christmas is done, it's time to have fun, 'cause it's so ridiculously cold. Oh, hi! Here we are, underneath our beautiful XRT Palisade Hyundai. And our rear suspension is a beautiful thing. As is standard practice these days, this is a unibodied body, meaning it's one big steel structure that is both the main floor pan of the vehicle as well as the structure that holds all the people inside, the actual cabin. But in order to put a suspension on that, what we have is a subframe, and then we have the suspension components tacked onto the subframe, you see. So how do we do all this? Well, here it is, right here. First of all, I mentioned earlier, we do have a temporary spare tire. That's right there. And then we have a beautiful, like I said, generous use of aluminum. I'm trying to get my device to function here. Hang on. There we are. Look at these beautiful A-arms down here. The lower part of this is all aluminum, and then the upper part, well, first of all, there's our shock absorber right there. And here is our coil spring, all nestled in there. No air suspension on this, just coil spring. And then we have our drive shaft right yonder. And then we have a anti-sway bar, it looks like, that runs front. And then we have a forward link, which at this angle you can't see very well. If we go over here, you can see a lateral link right here. Very stout looking steel. And then where's our forward link? There it is. It's way up here. There you go. And it goes all the way up top here. So again, this doesn't even look familiar to me on most Hyundai applications. It might be these days. This is a 2026. But I think this is a little specialized for the use on the Palisade and the Kia Telluride. And maybe some others, I don't know. But a very substantially girder beam type situation of our subframe here. And again, the lower arm is designed to reduce unsprung weight by using that lightweight yet strong looking aluminum. And overall, this is amazingly good in the ground clearance department. Here's our, by the way, our differential. And here is this huge thing with all these, what is clearly some kind of electric motor and everything else in there. This would be your clutch system that turns on and off the access that the drive shaft, which you clearly can see here, has to the rear differential to provide rear drive. And that turns on and off depending on the driving conditions and whether or not it thinks it is required. And if it does think it is required, it will require it to do its thing. Another good thing you can see in this lighting in particular is these tires are great all-terrain type tires. Well, they're all climate kind of thing. They're not all-terrain, but they're designed to clearly function when you have snow on the ground, as well as dry pavement and rain and all the things that you're most likely going to be driving in. Mud, they probably do fairly good in mud too, these Continentals. They're good tires. Here is our fuel tank array, and we have some mediocre protection right here at the beginning of it, but the rest of this is just kind of exposed. Most of this stuff here is this fiber material that is covering up, I think, a few potentially fragile components from the off-road use that you may decide to put this thing into. You sure have the ground clearance to do it. And then again, we have a very straight, just like everything else in this drivetrain, a very straightforward exhaust system. It comes straight out of the back of the V6 and goes into a muffler, a catalytic converter, and mufflers, and all these different things. And I just dropped the device and it's never going to be retrieved now. And a muffler and just a tailpipe, and then another resonator. Oh boy, it's a substantial resonator, and just one. I'm kind of surprised that in the pursuit of stylishness, they didn't go with like a twin outlet rear exhaust array, but they didn't. It's just a nice straightforward. Again, there's so much simplicity and logic to the way they've gone about this that makes it a really, really nice vehicle. And as you can see, this is a pretty much fully compressed on this side, and on the driver's side here, we have it fully extended. And it seems to have a pretty good amount of wheel travel overall. So there you go, a very, very nicely put together undercarriage on this thing. And I wouldn't hesitate at all for most light off-road work for a second, because it looks like it's very well constructed to do that, especially in the ground clearance department.
Well, and piratey, yeah. We have a Hyundai 2026 Palisade XRT Pro all-wheel drive, and the only price I have for you, because I didn't have it on the Monroney, is a base price of $50,170. And it didn't seem like it was loaded with options, so I'd say you're looking at 55 out the door. I'm just guessing, but that's pretty much what it is. But anyway, what a nice vehicle. I love the fact that this thing has a normally aspirated V6 engine instead of some crazy turbocharged thing that I won't understand. It's got room on top of room on top of room, and the XRT package has a little bit more ground clearance, but is a little better suited to going off the complete beaten track. But this is no serious off-road vehicle, but it will get you places that a lot of other vehicles will not. It should be very stable and beautiful in the wintertime. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy out there. We'll see you next time.
You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube, you even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.